I have the time as 7:32, so I will call the meeting, the public hearing and regular business meeting of Mayor and Council for the City of Snellville, Georgia, Monday, June 12th, 2023 to order. We do have a quorum. We are missing one member. Christy Linsky is out of town this week. We'll start with the invocation to be given by Chaplain Trey Hildebrandt. Trey?
It's great to be here again on behalf of 12 Stone and Snellville. We're so thankful to be a part of this. So thankful for our city, thankful for our leadership. I'd love to pray for us. Yes, so Father, we love you. And Lord, we're so thankful that you love us. Lord, tonight I pray over our council. I pray over anyone who serves in leadership in Snellville. Lord, first, just extending gratitude. We look around our city and we see so much that's happening, and we're so thankful to be here. So Lord, thank you for the men and women who lead. Lord, we pray for wisdom. I pray, Lord, that they would have clarity and conviction over what's right and wisdom on how to move forward with those right decisions. And then, Lord, I pray for favor. I pray that Snellville would continue to grow, that it would be a safe place for people, for families, and that we would see the fruit of even meetings like tonight for years to come. And so, Lord, would you give us favor in this city? We love you so much, and it's in the name of Jesus Christ that I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Trey. It's great to see you. And now we'll have the pledge to be led by Councilmember Gretchen Schultz. Thank you all. We have no ceremonial matters, so we'll move on to the minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of the May 22nd, 2023 meetings.
There is a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 5 in favor with none opposed. I have to remember I'm counting to 5 tonight, not 6. Okay, we have no invited guests tonight or committee or department reports, so we'll move to the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the agenda as printed with one addition, item L under new business, and that is to authorize the mayor to sign a contract with Jacobs for updates to the comp plan for an amount not to exceed $100,000.
Okay, there is a motion to approve the agenda as presented, adding one item L for the Jacobs contract. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 5 in favor with none opposed. We have one item under our public hearing. This is an update to our UDO. It is second reading, UDO 23-02, consideration and action on amendments to the text of the Unified Development Ordinance for the City of Snellville, Georgia, to be consistent with the updated Zoning Procedures Act as passed by the Georgia General Assembly for the Administrative and Board of Appeals review of variances and waivers of the UDO as follows. Article 3, Administration of Chapter 10. Article 5, Special and Overlay Districts. Article 6, Use Provisions. And Article 7, Site Development of Chapter 200. And Article 1, Streets and Public Improvements of Chapter 400. Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Just a little more detail on the UDO update. It's in response to legislation that was passed by the Georgia General Assembly that delegates rules and responsibilities for any time a city or municipality or other governing body takes up administrative variance applications. Administrative variance applications are, as they sound, variance requests that are limited in scope and are handled administratively within city staff or departments. Before the passing of this General Assembly Act, we were able to conduct those administrative variances within our own department or with the city without any real notification requirements, posting and within a newspaper. It was basically a limited scope that we could decide based on the facts whether or not it's a good fit or not. Well, the Georgia Assembly decided that those administrative variance actions now will need to be considered in the same manner that they were more serious, or I guess more extensive variances would be considered in the form of an application that requires public notice, an actual hearing, even though it wouldn't be in front of a board, and all the different signage and everything that corresponds with that. So after looking through our code, and we found roughly 22 standards that applied to, where we could, we made a couple of changes in the code that would remove the necessity for a variance at all and would allow it by right under a certain set of codes. But for the rest of those administrative variances, since they fall outside of our purview now, we've remanded those basically back to the Board of Appeals so as not to create two different calendar schedules and keep everything within the purview of the board now. So anything that's outside of a much smaller scope of true administrative variances that we can govern without that process, we'll continue to handle. The council will still be able to consider any variances at the time of a rezoning or land use plan amendment, SUP, application, CUP, anything that comes before you guys, because the notice has been handled, the hearing has been handled. So that won't change for you guys, but we'll probably see an uptick in appeals submitted to the Board of Appeals if, you know, the applicant feels like it's something they have to have. So we'll just have to be a little more diligent on the front end now to make sure we iron it out a little bit better, so won't overburden the board. But again, there's 22 specific changes, 22 items with many more specific changes that John Dennis, our zoning administrator, worked closely with the city attorney, with Jay and Chuck, and we feel like we've got it ironed out the best we can to meet the state statute, which we had till July to get done. So we're well within our time period, and I recommend approval of the UDO.
Are there any questions of council for Mr. Thompson? I just have one, Jason. Will this mean that someone who wants to come in now for a variance that you would normally just have approved under the administrative variance, but now this person's going to have to fill out an application and pay a fee to cover the cost for the signage and everything?
Yeah, that's exactly it, and it also becomes a little bit more laborious too, and the end result is also challengeable in court. So there's just opens up a whole other litany of issues. But hopefully we're not going to see as many variances because we've adjusted the code where we can. So anything it will cause, like if somebody wanted a small setback or something, we can't do that anymore. They're going to have to come to the board. So we'll see how that works out. If it becomes even harder, then maybe we will run 2 calendars and then do an administrative variance application that's a little different. You know, won't require as much, but there'll still be a fee and everything. It just won't be, I guess, as comprehensive as a BOA application would be, which is a legal document in a way. Sometimes can slow citizens down.
Okay. All right, this is a public hearing item agenda, so I will now open the floor to anyone who has any comments or concerns on this UDO 23-02. You can come forward and state your name and address for the record. Don't everybody rush the microphone. Okay, seeing nobody who would like to speak on this topic, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Motion to approve UDO 23-02.
There is a motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
We got Dave on the second. So there's a motion and a second on approval for the UDO 23-02. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 5 in favor with none opposed. That closes our public hearing for the evening. We have nothing on the consent agenda or old business. We have several items under new business. We'll start with item A, second reading ordinance 2023-06, adoption of the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget for each fund of the city of Snellville, Georgia, appropriating the amount shown in each budget as expenditures expenses, adopting the several items of revenue anticipations, and prohibiting expenditures or expenses from exceeding the actual funding available. Butch, you want to give a few highlights, or Matt?
I missed you last time, and I think Matt gave a good overview. But the staff is proud to present a budget for adoption, a balanced budget of $15,330,356. It is constitutionally mandated to be balanced, as you just described in the overview. And several years ago, there was a Canadian rock and roll band named the Guess Who. They had a hit song called "Taking Care of Business." Well, if there was a title on this budget, it would be "Taking Care of Our Employees." The great majority of increase in this budget is in salaries. And we all want to thank the mayor and council for being very supportive and very insistent on doing more for our employees. We had a study, a pay, salary, compensation, and benefits study done. We've taken a very big step towards meeting the recommendations there. I think we're very much more competitive when it comes to salaries now. We're taking care of our public safety officers first and foremost by raising our starting salary and increasing numbers throughout the police department. And I noticed Ms. Linsky is not here tonight. She has been one of the most vocal and most supportive in taking care of our employees. But myself and our staff, we very much appreciate the mayor and council's support there. This budget overall has gone up about 4.25%. That's pretty good considering we had an 8% inflation rate last year. And with a projected 3% tax digest growth, there would not be a millage increase. I think we'll have a little bit more than 3%, so no millage increase is planned in this budget. So I'm glad to ask questions. This has been available to the public for many weeks now. Whatever questions we've had, we've taken care of those, so it is ready for adoption.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. Any members of council have questions for Mr. Sanders on the budget? No? Then I will entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, make the motion that we adopt ordinance 2023-06, the adoption of the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget for each fund in the city of Snellville, Georgia.
All right, so we have a motion to adopt. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Any council members that wish to make a comment?
Just like to make a comment and commend Butch and the staff for doing an excellent job, as usual.
Anyone else? And as Butch alluded to, the salary situation became untenable. We were losing police officers quite rapidly, and so we went ahead and increased the starting pay for police officers. And I think what a lot of people don't realize, when you're especially in a government kind of situation, you don't have a lot of freedom and flexibility with just changing certain people's salaries. You're usually on some kind of pay scale and pay chart, and especially when you're dealing with police officers, if you increase the lower paid or the entry-level police officers, you have to go and adjust every other officer that's been there so that the salary ranges stay commensurate with their positions and their years of experience. So it's not just, let's just increase, these 5 positions an extra $4,000. It's a wholesale increase across the board. And not only in the police department, but also in our public works and in our parks maintenance, we have not been able to attract employees. And even, we did increase our wage up to a minimum wage of $17 an hour? In every department. We've increased our minimum wage up to $17 an hour, and we're still having trouble attracting employees for those positions. So if you know people that need some work, we have some jobs available. But that was really our largest increase across the board in the budget, even with all of the inflationary pressures that we have. We are seeing it in other areas as well we're definitely top of mind when we're talking about budgeting and finances for the city, that being sanitation. We are at the highest level of the general fund having to subsidize our sanitation fund ever. We're over $1.189 million that we're having to add to our sanitation fund to be able to support picking up trash. We love the fact that the recycling center is seeing a huge uptick of people coming to the recycling center and dropping off their recyclables. So that's been a good thing as well. But I think this is a good budget, and thank you, Butch and Matt, for all your hard work, and all the department heads who have worked so hard to get this budget together. And with that, we have a motion and a second, so I will call for the vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 5 in favor with none opposed. So we have a budget for next year. Now we have item B, second reading, ordinance 2023-07, an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances of Snellville, Georgia, Chapter 2, Article 4, Boards and Commissions, to repeal the conflicting ordinance Division 5 in order to conform to the city of Snellville's status as an at-will employer as mandated by the city's charter. What we're doing on this ordinance is we've had some conflict in the language between our actual charter, city charter, and our code of ordinances. So we've been working with an employment law attorney on the project to update the personnel manual. We've already made some changes on that front in previous meetings, and so this is finishing that work. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance 2023-07.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any comments by council? Then I will call for the vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 5 in favor with none opposed. Next, we have item C, consideration and adoption of Resolution 2023-8, resolution for the municipal general election for the city of Snellville, Georgia, to provide for a municipal superintendent, assistant municipal superintendents, absentee ballot clerk, and deputy absentee ballot clerks. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve resolution 2023-08.
There is a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We'll take Solange on that one. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 5 in favor with none opposed. Have item D, consideration and action on resolution 2023-09, a resolution pledging to practice and promote civility in the city of Snellville. Just a few comments on this. I won't read the whole resolution. It was included in the packet. It goes on for a little bit. But what this program is, this is a pledge that Georgia Municipal Association had put together in an effort to promote civility, professionalism for elected officials in their public meetings and in their dealings with the public. So they presented this program about 2 months ago is when they rolled it out. And so we would like to adopt that here in the city. And what this is, it's just a personal pledge by each of the council members to maintain civility. Let me just read you a little bit of the first. To have healthy debate, open, free, and vigorous debate while maintaining the highest standards of civility, honesty, and mutual respect. To be cognizant of your how you act and conduct yourself in public. To be thoughtful and respectful and kind between city officials. To set a positive example that promotes and conducts thoughtful debate and discussion of legislative issues, resulting in better public policy and a more informed electorate, while also encouraging civil behavior between residents. And so that's a lot of what's in this civility pledge. And so I had brought this forward for a vote of council, and really wanted to get this done before we go to the Georgia Municipal Association Convention, which is in 2 weeks from now. So that's what we're doing here. And is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 2023-09.
There is a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second?
Mr. Emanuel, was there something you were going to add to that? But it's not in the packet, so
If you want to read that addition that you were making. We've got it here. It's in that one.
This is the fourth whereas. You can find it in the copy of it. It is whereas city council meetings are open to the public, and thus how city officials execute their legal duties is on public display. And the section I added was, in that regard, city officials pledge that during public meetings they will not engage in texting, sending email, or any other actions that display a lack of a concern or attention to the city's business.
So your motion is to approve the resolution with that added verbiage. And Gretchen, you approve that
Yes.
addition?
Second.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 4 in favor. Any opposed?
My no vote is not a no vote, me not voting. I'm just abstaining. It's not a yes and a no until we can further look into the civility. Thank you. So it's abstain.
Okay, so we have 4 in favor, none opposed, and 1 abstention. Okay. Now we have item E, consideration and action on notice to proceed to Smithville for construction of the hall at the Grove. Mr. Sanders, you want to say a word about this?
This is a little unusual. Normally, we bring a contract for the mayor and council to approve and the mayor to sign. We pretty much have a almost final contract. Chuck and I need to talk and add a couple of protections for us as owners in the standard AIA contract, but we do have an agreed upon price of $5,314,000 for the market building. This is a larger number than was originally proposed, but it's a building that has grown by 4,000 square feet. And it's actually per square foot, it's less than where we were a year ago. And to stay on the proposed schedule, which I provided in your packet, and get this building built by next spring, it's very important to go ahead and approve the notice to proceed, get the subs and the contractor working, and we will bring the contract back to you at the July 10th council meeting before construction starts. and we'll have all the, any changes in the plans put in place by then. And that's why we're bringing this in a little unconventional manner. But this does start the clock ticking and keeps us on schedule.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. With that explanation, is there a motion?
Make a motion that we allow the mayor to sign the, where did it go? Got a lot of stuff on here. The consideration and action on notice to proceed for Smith-Built for construction of the hall at the Grove.
Okay, there is a motion to authorize the mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Got Dave on that one. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 5 in favor with none opposed. We have item F, consideration and action on phase 1 of the traffic calming proposal by Collaborative Infrastructure Services, CSI. Just a brief explanation of what this is. We are hiring a firm who has done a lot of work for us in the past. He's working on the sidewalk projects now, Collaborative Infrastructure Services. We have been working as a council with the Public Works and Butch and the county. What we'd like to do is we're proposing to do some traffic calming circles. These aren't quite a full roundabout on some of our major or some of our higher trafficked city streets through neighborhoods where we have a frequent and consistent issue with speeding in an effort to try to slow traffic down. We've been talking about these for 4 or 5 months now. We believe that we will have good public support in the neighborhoods, but we want to make sure of that, and we want to put together a series of public meetings. We will go out to the neighborhoods and invite the neighbors to come out and see what we're talking about, look at some drawings, and so that we can get some response from them before we proceed with budgeting funds towards this. So that's what we're doing. This is phase 1 of that project, which includes getting the work done as far as where they would go, which streets. We've already identified streets, working with the police department on which streets we have the most complaints and we know we have the issues on. And so this is going to be that phase of actually identifying where they would go, which neighborhoods, and then setting up those public meetings and letters to go out to people. So that's what we're talking about here. And is there a motion?
Motion to approve Phase 1 of the traffic calming proposal by Collaborative Infrastructure Services in the amount of $42,000.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 5 in favor with none opposed. Next, the next couple of items here, you're going to hear just a lot of reading, hopefully. Making a lot of nominations to reappoint people to their boards and authority seats. We've got all of the terms expire on June 30th, or a lot of them do. So I am just, all the people are willing to continue to serve, so I am asking for council's confirmation on reappointment. So we'll zip through this hopefully fairly quickly. So we have item G, my nomination, and asking for confirmation on the reappointment of the following Board of Appeals members. Post 3, Emmett Clower, with a term expiration of June 30th, 2025. Post 5, Betty Ann Kuman, and Post 6, Lori Ann Spears. Those are my nominations. I ask for council's confirmation. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 5 in favor with none opposed. Next up, item H is my nomination for the reappointment of the following Planning Commission board members, all with terms that would expire on June 30th, 2025. Post 1, Charles Williams. Post 5, Carrie Hetherington. And Post 6, Michael Kissel. I ask for council's confirmation. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 5 in favor with none opposed. Have item I, my nomination and asking for council's confirmation on the reappointment of the following Parks and Recreation Board members, all with a term to expire on June 30th of 2025. Post 1, Norman Carter. Post 5, Nicole Irish. And Post 6, Barbara Harris. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 5 in favor with none opposed. We have item J, my nomination asking for confirmation on the reappointment of the following Development Authority of Snellville board members. These will have a term expiration of June 30th, 2027. Post 3, Lori Ann Spears. Post 4, Dan LeClaire. And Post 6, Melvin Everson. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 5 in favor with none opposed. And item K, my nomination asking for confirmation for the reappointment of the following Development Authority of Snellville board members with a term to expire June 30th, 2027. We have Post 3, Lori Ann Spears, and Post 6, Melvin Everson. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 5 in favor with none opposed. I appreciate the council members to support the continuing service of all of these volunteers. And now we have item L that was added in the budget, or the budget approval, the agenda approval, which is to authorize the mayor to sign a contract with Jacobs for updating our comprehensive plan. It's required by the state of Georgia to update our plan every 5 years. We didn't think we'd have the contract, but they sent it in today and it was reviewed, so we are set to go. We've got a pretty aggressive timeline to get through all of the work that's involved, and gives us a little time to make sure we've got it the way we want. And we really need the public support on this, so be looking out for surveys and meetings and things like that for us to talk with you about it. So is there a motion?
Motion to authorize the mayor to sign the contract with Jacobs for updates to the comprehensive plan for an amount not to exceed $100,000.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 5 in favor with none opposed. And that concludes all of our business meeting tonight, so we will move to council reports, and we'll start with Councilmember Solange Destang.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Again, I'm going to invite you, yes, thank you. I just asked her to put the flyer up for me. Thanks. I'm going to ask you once again, this is the last, that I will see you before the actual Juneteenth. I'm inviting all of you, people here at home, on the dais, in the audience, to come and celebrate Father's Day with us. I want to invite all of you to the second Snellville Juneteenth celebration. This Juneteenth celebration will take place on the town green on Sunday, June 18, from 1 to 8 p.m. This day will be a fun, family-friendly atmosphere. There will be a children's zone, food trucks, and so much more. Please come and have fun with us. Our theme this year is honoring Black fathers. We will also be honoring the past, celebrating the present, and building a better future together. We will have entertainment, and it will be a fun day. Please don't forget to bring your lawn chairs. We're not providing chairs for you, so you can sit, stretch your legs, put your hair down, and just enjoy. Okay, so that will be Sunday, Father's Day, the 18th, from 1 to 8. Snellville has lost a great woman this past week. Mary Jane Gresham, a Snellville resident for more than 45 years, volunteered for our city in many, many ways. She served this community through the Snellville Senior Center, Snellville Days, Citizens Police Academy, the Snellville Lions Club, Club Scouts, Boy Scouts, and camping clubs. She was very involved with volunteering for local schools. Holding an office with a parent-teacher-student organization, Mary Jane was the epitome of a faithful servant. She was such a sweet and humble person. May she rest in peace. She was definitely, hands down, a sweetheart. If you haven't known her, you have lost a great relationship with her, I guess, because she would talk to anybody. She always had something fun to say. And we had many little conversations, you know. So I do pray that she rests in peace, and she will definitely, definitely be missed by all of us. Tonight, I chose to abstain from voting on the pledge to practice and promote civility in the city of Snellville. My vote, as I stated earlier, is not a no vote, but it was actually an abstain, so it's not a yes or a no. I asked in previous meetings with specific questions that needed answers. I have up to date not received all the answers I was seeking. I know I am one vote, but I am the people's vote. Until these answers be given to our constituents, I cannot in good conscience and good faith sign off on this pledge. I will entertain it a little later and then come back to the table and see what can be done. But until then, I pray that you all get home safe tonight. I will see you again at our next council meeting, which will take place on Monday, July 10th at 7:30 p.m. Stay blessed and good night.
Thank you, and we'll move to Councilmember Gretchen Schultz.
I just want to report that the farmers market has just been unbelievable. Those of you that have come, you've probably had trouble even finding a parking place. People tell me that they're circling the parking lot a couple times to find a parking place. The attendance by customers has just been unbelievable. Our largest produce vendor, Ty Cowart, he has a farm right down on Lenora Church Road, as well as 2 farms down in South Georgia. And I went over to him after this last market, and all he had, you know, he sets up, I don't know how many tables he sets up, but all he had left were potatoes, a few potatoes and a couple other things. And I said to him, I said, well, Ty, how'd it go? And he said, he just put his head in his hands and he said to me, I can't grow it fast enough and I can't pick it fast enough for Snellville. So that gives you some idea of how the market has been going. It's just been absolutely incredible. The biggest customer attendance we've had in all 14 years that we have had the market. So I'm just so pleased with the vendor response. We've actually turned down, I don't know, 50 people that wanted to be vendors. It's just been incredible. And I thank all of you who come to the market and support the market. It means the world to those of us that volunteer and get up at 4:45 on Saturday morning and are on the green by 6 a.m. It just means so much to us when we see you arrive and you're excited to be there, and so many people stop at our tent and say thank you for doing this, and it means the world to us. It really, really does, and I thank you for that. Have a good evening.
Thank you, and we'll move to Councilmember Dave Emanuel.
Thank you. It really doesn't surprise me that the farmers market has been such a success. I don't know how Kurt and Gretchen do it week after week after week, getting up before the sun and working all day. But the results speak for themselves. It's been an excellent market. A number of years ago, I was talking to some vendors, and they said, this is the best market we go to. And there were people who went to a variety of markets. So I think the quality of what everybody has put in shows, and that's the reason it's been so successful, and I think it'll continue to be successful, even though Kurt and Gretchen are threatening to retire, so we'll see how that goes. On another matter, the salaries for our employees. We have what I've said repeatedly is I think the best police department in the state, if not the Southeast, and you have to attract quality people, and everybody is having problems finding people. It seems like, I guess there's enough government giveaway programs that a lot of people seem to think they don't have to work, and they're not working. But throughout the city, I think everybody has made a decided effort to do whatever we can to get the top quality in our employees, police department, public works, staff throughout. And I think it shows, because I think Snellville is one of the smoothest running cities that I've seen, and I think it's largely because of the work a lot of our employees do and a lot of the staff does. And they continue to do it year after year, so I'd like to commend all the people who work for the city for doing such an outstanding job. Everybody have a safe trip home.
Thank you, Dave, and Mayor Pro Tem Todd Warner.
Well, I want to thank everybody for being out here tonight and those watching wherever you are. On Saturday, Councilwoman DeStang and I had the honor of representing the city of Snellville at the Flag Day ceremony over at the VFW Hall in Lawrenceville. It was the 14th, is that right, Swan? 14th Flag Day, and it's headed by our very own Mike Sabah. He actually started it while he was on council with Mayor Barbara and I back, I guess, 14 years ago. It was a great celebration. A lot of dignitaries turned out to have their pictures made with the flag, and it was very, very meaningful. Many of our residents are actually in the honor guard that were there saluting our flag, and that means a lot to me as an elected official that our citizens are that involved and understand the import of that. So that was very touching. We also last Wednesday, I think, had a Gwinnett Municipal Association meeting, which is all of the cities in Gwinnett County, there's a whole bunch of them, come together and work on issues that befall all of us, and also work hand in hand with our county counterparts. And we went over to get some more information at the Police Training Center about our 911 call center here in Gwinnett. Back on Grayson, during the Grayson Days Festival, I had the opportunity to help out a friend working his food booth, and we had a 75-year-old young lady kind of pass out. Well, not kind of pass out, she passed out, and went to render aid, and the lady who was helping me spent 14 minutes on hold trying to get through to 911. And after 14 minutes, the phone disconnected, and her battery didn't go dead. It disconnected. So we had to send a runner over to talk to the security, the police that were working security on the streets, to call in EMS. And it took 45 minutes to get EMS on site. And that's absolutely unacceptable. And one of the issues we don't have here in Snellville is response times. So at the meeting, they were explaining to us all about the 911 center, and something that really hit home with me, and I'm sure with my fellow council members, they have 61 employees currently. They have 41 open positions. So if you know anybody who's looking for part-time or full-time work that can deal, I'm out because it takes multitasking, but it is certainly God's work to answer the call when people are in need. So if you have youth, all you have to have is a GED and be 18 years old and be drug-free, which kind of limits the pool. But the pay is actually quite good. There are many bonuses if you'll sign up. So if you know anybody who's looking for good, honest work, please have them contact any of us on council or contact Gwinnett County Communications Department, because they are in dire need of help. And it takes 10 weeks or longer to bring somebody on to get them properly trained. So you don't get thrown to the wolves, but definitely it is a need within our community that affects every single one of us. So if it's in your heart, reach out to those you know that might be looking for a job. And I would like to say that I, for one, am going to miss Mary Jane Gresham. She was an icon in this city. She was one of the sweetest people that you could ever meet. I'm just glad that she's finally home with her husband, Jimmy, who left us probably 10, 12 years ago. They both were so involved in every aspect of this community and were just a godsend. So my condolences to the family, and y'all be safe going home tonight.
Thank you, Todd, and I appreciate that update on 911. I was going to mention that as well. Oh, no, not a problem at all. And my condolences to the family, to the Gresham family. I knew Mary Jane was sick through some postings on Facebook, and but I haven't been on Facebook for a while and didn't realize that she's passed away. But she was an icon here in the city, her and Jimmy both. That Mary Jane was always out and volunteering for everything, and met her at the Lions Club meetings quite a few times as well, and just a really great volunteer and a great citizen. So with that, I will close my mayor's report, and I will open the floor to public comment. If anyone would like to address the council, you may come forward, give your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes on one topic, please.
We also lost another person special to Snellville. That's Barbara P. Chadwick, passed away this weekend. Yes, her father was one of the original first service stations on the corner of Highway 78 and 124. You didn't bother to stop too long. You just took the curve and went on to Atlanta after you got gas. But anyway, Hardy came along and tore down the service station. I'm glad to hear civility back on the list tonight. And it's something that this city has not had for 2 years, is civility. I have contacted GMA to voice my opinion on the civility for city of Snellville. It's one thing to take a pledge, but there needs to be resolution to problems. I don't know what the list that y'all are asking for in a pledge, other than the cell phones. Is there a list somewhere?
I'm sorry, the whole resolution was in the agenda package.
Okay.
That's on the website.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it on the website. I just picked up this package back here.
It was just kind of long. I didn't want to read
Okay.
the whole thing, but
Okay.
you're welcome to have my copy if you'd like.
Thank you.
This copy doesn't have that last little verbiage that Dave put in, but that was just a minor point compared to everything else.
One of my complaints is, y'all say things, but nobody knows out here unless you go to that website regularly and look for that. People are lost out here. But anyway, I just would like to see more, and I want to look this over, than just a pledge to we'll do better now. There's things, and people need to be heard. There needs to be an avenue for hearing people. And there's not here in Snellville. I have fought to get things done in this city, and I'm the bad guy because I fight for things. There are people in this city that we have sat with and listened to that are afraid to come forward because they're afraid they'll be retaliated against like I was. So there needs to be a board, an avenue, some way to hear the residents, because they don't want to come here tonight and speak and then be retaliated against. And so I've asked GMA to get with me to hear my complaints before going ahead and placing Snellville's name on this, civility list. There needs to be actions instead of just saying, okay, we'll do better. I want to look at this and see what's been laid out, and I appreciate that information. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rollins. Anyone else?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and honorable members of City Council. One portion of City Council meetings that always grabs my attention and gives me confidence in the leadership of Snellville occurs when City Manager Butch Saunders presents the city budget. Prudent spending based on acquisition of taxes supplemented by state and federal dollars keeps Snellville healthy and able to function to the benefit of all citizens. Otherwise, how else could we continue to be a city where everybody is proud to be somebody? At our last council meeting, there was a public announcement for a proposal to set aside $500,000 for small businesses adversely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. While some may view this as a compassionate proposal to address the need, I find it to be munificent, if not superfluous, and not in the best interest of Snellville. Nationwide, businesses, small and large, have been adversely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Here in America, our federal government reacted to this by providing grants and loans to small businesses. This was done because small businesses have proven themselves to be the nerve center, if not the backbone, of the American economy. My cursory investigation has shown that not only federal, but also state and county assistance has been and still remains available to assist small businesses. My abbreviated list of available programs for small businesses included the U.S. Treasury Department, which has small business tax credit programs, an emergency capital investment program, a paycheck protection program, and that paycheck protection program is providing small businesses with the resources they need to maintain their payroll, hire back employees who may have been laid off, and cover applicable expenses, overhead expenses. There's a website, I could give it to you, but if you want to come to me, I'll give it to you, for the U.S. Treasury Department grants. Also, the Better Business Bureau is also a good resource directing small businesses to assistance programs. Now, if businesses have not taken advantage of these and other programs, we must question both their eligibility and their energy to put forth in keeping themselves afloat. Rather than duplicating available assistance, we are better served to direct these businesses to available resources with an established infrastructure to handle their concerns. In closing, administering a program to issue $500,000 to small businesses incurs additional costs to the city that the city may not be able to afford. At minimum, we would have to hire certified public accountants to review all applications for this grant. Their salaries range from $55,000 to over $100,000 per year. That does not include health and other benefits. Are we prepared for that additional cost? Perhaps I'm overreacting to this proposal that was put before the public, but the danger we face is that when such proposals are placed before the public without research and guarding against needless duplication, there is a public expectation by those who may be affected. If such proposals prove to not be viable, unnecessary disappointment results, and that has a negative impact on our city. If we are continued to demonstrate fiscal responsibility to our citizens, We need better research done before such proposals are publicly announced. Let us not give the appearance of buying votes for some at the expense of all. We are better than that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close. Oh, did you raise your hand? I'm sorry. Just come forward and provide your name and address for the record, please.
I do not know if this would be appropriate, but I teach English as a second language at Bethany Baptist Church, which is unincorporated Snellville.
Ma'am, I need your name and address for the record.
Paulette DeHart, 3797 Etna Drive, Snellville 30039.
Thank you.
And one of our previous lessons was on national, federal taxes, state taxes, local taxes, and what a republic is. We have so many students from around the world who come from republics, but representation is nil. And so we decided, why don't we come and watch a republic in action? So in the process of doing that, my student Aziza from Afghanistan thought that this might be a good opportunity to share something on her heart. Would you like to speak?
My name is Aziza. I am from Afghanistan.
Your address?
My address 2005 Kensington, Southwest, Georgia, 11. I want to talking about for Masood, Messenger Commander, and the other one. Just a minute.
His son?
His son. I want to one day put for this name and the nationality.
To be honored?
Yes.
To be honored by the public?
To be honored or by the public to the name.
Apparently, he is one of the few in Afghanistan who's against the Taliban's prohibiting women from being educated. He's just much more open-minded. He was educated partly in England, so he has seen how things function well in other parts of the world, and he wants to reintroduce that to Afghanistan. He's one of the few who has the courage, after his father was assassinated, to continue doing this. So Aziza's desire is for his name to be recognized publicly, that we appreciate him as U.S. citizens for what he continues to do, though we are no longer there.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming forward with that. Anyone else? Seeing none, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. That is 5 in favor with none opposed. So we are done. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Drive safely.